Morris with Symphony Care Management, founder and care manager. And I am excited to introduce and have a conversation with Amy Roberts, the founder and owner of Out of the Box Moves today. As we are starting to think about fall, we all start to think about how we should get organized, and we're putting our summer vacation away and we're kind of focusing on different things in our lives besides vacation. So I was excited to interview Amy, who is a very experienced senior move manager. So we can talk about the types of things that people can do long before they're ready to move, as well as what is a senior move manager, so that people can understand that professionals like Amy and her team are out there to help make moves really stress-free, because moving, we know, is very stressful. And Amy is a trusted partner that we pull in after we have supported our clients to make decisions about where they need to move, so that she can help get them from point A to point B. So I want to tell you a little bit about Amy, and then we'll have this great discussion. So Amy is the owner, as I said, of Out of the Box Moves, and has been passionate, and I would agree with that, and dedicated move manager for over 15 years. Offering support and encouragement, Amy recognizes the emotional toll that moving can take on individuals and families. Amy's wealth of knowledge and experience provides a customized solution for each project. She understands that every situation is unique and takes the time to listen and understand the specific requirements for each move. Her thoughtful approach ensures that no aspect of the process is overlooked, resulting in a smooth and stress-free transition for her clients. And I can vouch for that. I know when I refer my clients to Amy and her team, it's all taken care of. They're in the best of hands. So Amy, I wanted to ask you, if our clients are really just in a planning stage, they're independent, they're in their homes, and maybe they've already downsized, but maybe they're in a home they've been in for many, many years. What are some of the things that they could do to really be prepared, so that when that time comes, they're not just overwhelmed with the mess? But before you answer that pre-move, tell us in your words a little bit about your business and your profession, and then we'll get to what to do. So tell us about your profession.
Okay, so as a senior move manager, what we do is we help people sort through their belongings. And this could be a lifetime of belongings. There are some people that have been in their home for 30, 40, or even more, 50 years. So what we do is I first come in and do a complimentary consultation and to assess their needs. And then after that, we will schedule a team member to work with them. We work around 4 hours at a time, and then they will do the sorting as well as the labeling of what they want to keep, potentially donate, potentially give to family, sell, and that's it. So we go through this process. We're tagging the items with our different color coding system. And then once we have that done, we will contact different vendors to come and pick up the items or buy the items. Really, we're trying to get their house on the market first. And then once their house is on the market and it sells, then we come back in and we pack them up. We'll hire movers, and then we will unpack and set them up in their new home.
The other piece that has been so helpful is that you have a lot of experience in senior living communities. So you have, I'm speaking for you, been able to look at a layout of where they're going and really help them understand that you can't take 10 end tables. That's not going to fit in your
Right.
new space, but really you help them to kind of lay it out and understand kind of what is going to work well in their new space, which, is hard for people.
It's really hard for people. They have a very difficult time placing furniture. They can't really conceptualize what pieces go where. So we are able to do that for them. And we're also able to look at the cabinets and look at the closets and see how much storage space they have.
Mhm.
Therefore, we can also guide them to figure out how many clothes they can bring and how much, decorative items, etc., household goods,
And
etc.
can you also help them arrange for more built-ins in closets and
Yes,
or
we
is
can
that
help
kind
them
of
organize. We work with certain companies if they wanted to customize closets.
Mhm.
But other than that, if they just want help getting organized, we can help them provide, we will even go out to the Container Store and provide some bins to help them stay organized. Sometimes they have all of these items at home, but they
Mhm.
just don't realize it.
Yeah,
And we start digging through things.
and you
Um,
can repurpose what they're
yeah, so we'll
using.
repurpose what they have at home. We love to repurpose actually a lot of items that they have at home. There are a lot of people that will eventually buy a new bed, which we help them with, or buy new um, items for the bathroom, etc. But we really do like to repurpose what they
Mhm.
have in their home. I think it's kind of nice to have the new with the old, everything that's a little bit familiar with you, that familiar with you. And not only that, but it's a little eclectic.
So one of the things that you just said, I think is really a stress point for people. You have the trusted partnerships with different kinds of vendors. Can you just tell us, can you give us some
Yeah.
examples?
So after we finish the tagging process, we're labeling things that they no longer want. And we will then identify items that may have some value. Those items that have value will either bring in an antique dealer. If not an antique dealer, we'll have it go to consignment. And then there may be items that have no value, but could be useful to others. So then we will call in charitable organizations to come pick up, like More Than Words or Big Brother, Big Sister. And we always have a clean out company come in. There are just some items that you can't sell, you can't donate, and they either need to be recycled or find a new home, and they're somewhat of big pieces. So we'll call a clean out company and schedule them, and we will also oversee that process as well.
So I think part of what I see in my work as a care manager is that there's a real emotional side to letting go of belongings that is difficult. And then also many of our clients have some form and different degrees of cognitive impairment.
Mhm.
And so the process you just outlined is pretty straightforward, and I think people can understand it, and it would work for anyone who's moving. But tell us a little bit about your experience working with people who have some cognitive impairment, as well as when they're really struggling to let go of things. How do you and your team do that?
Well, it is difficult at times to work with them. And I think that's where sometimes you come in to help us with that process. Um, Having your knowledge as well with the client helps us with the client. The client cannot do all this sorting on their own. We will also we will sort with the client, but then we will also confirm with the family members if these items are to be donated, to be sold, or to be kept. So
Mhm.
we may do the tagging process, but people with memory impairment, they do get more tired.
Mhm.
So we can't be doing a 4 hour day with them. We may do
Mhm.
an hour at a time, and then we'll do a little bit of, catching up on our own. But essentially, we're not overwhelming them. We're just categorizing things so they can see how many of each item they have, which makes it easier for them. And we will coach them along the way. We'll say, why
Mhm.
don't you pick out 4 handbags out of these 20? And that really helps out because they get very overwhelmed seeing the
Yeah,
whole room. If we categorize everything, then it's not as overwhelming.
you're breaking it down and you can
We're breaking
do
it
one
down.
closet or
Right.
work in
Well,
one room.
right.
I
Mhm.
think the key is that your team is very patient. And then if you are having difficulty, you do reach out and we change the strategy,
Yes.
because what we're all focused on is minimizing the distress of the older adult in making a transition. So that's where the team approach, is so appreciated.
Yes.
So
We
thank
do
you.
have a lot of patience.
Yes. Tell me how about your team. Tell me this, who's on your team and kind of how you all
Oh,
work together.
well, I'm very, very fortunate. I come from a big Italian family. So I have more than 40 cousins, and
Oh,
several of
wow.
them have worked with me. I even had two sisters in the past work for me. And then it's mostly friends. There's no one on my team that I don't know from either a friend or is not my friend. I mean, there, which is very rare, I think.
Yeah, that's
Um,
wonderful.
it's wonderful. I feel like I'm going to work with my friends all day. So I was
Great.
with my cousin today, Cynthia, who always makes the comment. She's my little cousin, but my big boss. So we have a good time together. I am passionate at what I do. I could work a very long day, could be 10 hours, and I come home and just say to my husband, I had such a great day today.
Isn't
Um,
that wonderful?
how many
It
people?
really shows because your team are always lovely, and this is such a difficult thing for people, and that matters so much. Who's coming into their home and who's supporting them through this. So that means a great deal. How did you get into this work, Amy? Tell us a little bit about how you got here.
Yeah, so I was a marketing director at a retirement community. This was, whoa, over 20 years ago. Um, and I saw the need. I was signing the lease with residents moving in, and they didn't have the help or the assistance that they needed to move in, especially the people that didn't have family. So it was very stressful and overwhelming. And they kept on contacting the marketing director, myself, asking,
Mhm.
who should I hire for movers? Who can help me with the packing? Who can sell my home? Who can do? So there was a lot of questions, and you really want somebody who's moving into a retirement community to move in not so stressed out.
Yeah.
And so a move manager helps them by being that one point of contact. And also, we assure them through the process that everything's going to be all right. So, that being said, that's how I got into it. And it was just, I don't know, we went out of the gates running because there was
Yeah.
such a need. And there were
Yeah.
just so many people that needed the help. And being in the industry for so long, a lot of my friends were marketing directors or executive directors. And so when I started the company, it just
Yeah.
went well.
They knew you and that credibility carried you and they could see what their clients moving in to become residents really needed. So I can
Yeah.
understand how I knew you were in the industry, but I didn't realize that whole scenario, which is so great.
Yes.
So let's get back, if we can, to prior to moving to a retirement community or people declining. If people own their own home and they've been there for many years, tell us what are some of the things that they should do now?
Okay, on their own
Yeah.
now?
Or
Yes.
should they
Okay.
have you come in? And what
Well,
would you recommend?
yes. I mean, it's always nice to visit them in their home. And even if they don't need our services right away,
Mhm.
it's nice for me to come in so I can guide them through the process because there are a few things that they could do now. Uh, for, let's say, in each room, there's certain things that they could do. A lot of clients get really stumped on making decisions in the attic and the basement. So I always recommend if you are feeling overwhelmed when you enter your attic or enter your basement, then why not clean out the items that you are no longer using? Because
Mhm.
you probably don't need those items. They're probably unwanted items. So let's get rid of them. And so it's always great. I'll tell them either to hire a clean out company right away or call one of the charitable organizations, get get that scheduled on your calendar. And then that way, if they're coming in 3 weeks, it gives you a deadline to get a couple bags out at a time.
That is a great strategy
Mhm.
to
So
keep you
even one
focused
or
on
two
that.
bags at a time. And then you keep calling those charitable organizations to pick up items and you will just continue to whittle away a little bit at a time. And then it's not so overwhelming when you do a little at a time.
That sounds like a great idea. So somebody who's able could do that on their own,
Yes.
but but is that something that you could also offer if somebody wanted to work with a professional like you?
Yes. I mean, if they are not moving right away, we've actually had clients. We had one client in Weston, which was kind of funny because she was on a waiting list to move to a retirement community.
Mhm.
She said, I'm on a waiting list. I'm not going to be moving right away. She said, Amy, it could be a year from now. I had a, I mean, it was a big house. I had a team member go once a week for probably 9 months for 4 hours. I mean, I don't even know what that totals up. And she was alone. So we had to do the attic, the basement, and the whole house. And she felt so good. We even rearranged her furniture, got it ready for staging just in case she had to put it on the market quickly. And after we did all of that, she said, I don't know if I'm going to move. It was
Because she was just really happy with her
she was
house.
really happy with her house. But yes, the goal
But
is
peace of mind that it was in process. I think the
yes,
hardest thing sometimes is starting. So I could see how having someone like you or your team members come in a little bit at a time, then it's kind of
it's not as
going.
stressful. I wish everyone would call us a year in advance, to be honest with
That's
you.
that's great.
Yeah, it's not as stressful. And I think too that the process gets easier as time goes on.
Mhm.
So they are able to make quicker decisions and get rid of more items because they are used to it.
Yeah, that is great. And I'm going to integrate that into the clients that I meet with who are in the planning stages. They're not in need of services and support, because I think that makes all the sense in the world. One of the things I wanted to talk about is that things are different in terms of the timeline and the process. When a client is impaired cognitively and they need to move. And oftentimes we'll have you come in, but we don't want them living in the chaos of the boxes and
Mhm.
breaking things down because it's distressing, it's confusing, It can make them a fall risk if things are out of place.
Right,
So oftentimes when we work together on with clients, you pack up the client and all the things they're going to take with them and get them moved. And then you go back and
right.
take care of the rest of the house.
Yes,
Um,
because by then everything is sorted. They have everything that they need. We never do a clean out right away. We always want to make sure they get a little bit settled, um, in case they've changed their mind on wanting something else. And then we will work with the family if they have family, to finish the house. And then we will work with a realtor to help get the house ready to go on the market.
that is amazing. Even just arranging for a mover is a big deal for people. And the fact that you have relationships with
Yes,
movers and you can arrange that just, I think, brings the stress level down. And they want to do a lot of good work for you because you give them, they get business from you.
right.
Um,
Yes. And
so
they are very good to us. They will actually drop off supplies for us, for the client. They really go above and beyond, for our clients. And we're so appreciative, that we have them. They're as patient as we are, to be honest with you. So they
yeah, that's amazing.
understand the emotions that
Mm.
these clients are going through. And that's why I use certain movers.
Yeah, but you've probably trained them to understand as well. You've put them through the paces. I am going to tell you something that you taught me some years ago. That is a great strategy when someone is moving who does have a cognitive impairment, and that is taking a picture of how the pictures are arranged in the house on the wall
Yes.
so that we can replicate that in assisted living.
And that's
Um,
not just for,
Brilliant.
yeah, people with cognitive impairment. It's really for everyone. We'll take a
That's
china
true.
cabinet, and if this person is attached to their china cabinet and they want everything that's inside the china cabinet arranged exactly the same way that it is in their home, then we will take a picture of each shelf. And when we unpack it, we will put it away exactly the same way.
Amazing. The
Yeah.
other piece of that is when somebody walks into their apartment in assisted living or retirement living and things are set up and their familiar things are out, they immediately feel at home and
Yes.
feel comfortable. And so that's a hard thing for families to do amidst, all the
Right.
chaos. And I think it sets them on a positive note, starting their journey in a new place. So those
Agree.
strategies are great.
Well, on the move day, we try to have all the boxes gone, everything set up. We will even try and hang the artwork as well and have everything in its place. We even had one client who was so happy with it being done that she ended up having a cocktail party the next day.
Oh my God.
She did tell us in advance. She said, I'm sending out invitations because I'm going to have a cocktail party the next day. I said, wow, you really believe in us that it will be all set
No
up.
pressure.
Yeah, no
Oh my
pressure.
God.
But
That
she
is
did. And she sent me a text afterwards and she said, Amy, everyone loved my new place.
that is wonderful. So I
Yeah.
do think that your services support people of all ages,
Yeah.
but when we as care managers reach out to a move manager like you, our clients typically have complexity
Mhm.
or,
Right.
there are things happening that where things have been difficult or there are obstacles. And so you're always so willing to jump in knowing that, there are things and we collaborate and communicate. And so
Yeah.
for a care manager to be able to bring in experts, that's what our clients rely on us for, is to
Yeah.
bring to people that we know and trust are going to take really good care of them. And we don't know how to do what you do. So bringing you in to make that happen is just something I really appreciate in collaborating with you and your team.
And I feel the same way with you because I think it really makes it a smooth transition for the client because we're both focusing on the same goal, and it's to get them settled and have them feel comfortable in their new home. So I feel like we may be doing some of the physical pieces of that as well as the emotional, but you're really also holding their hand through the transition.
I wanted to bring up one other point because this comes up a lot, and you and I had a case not that long ago where you move people out of state, or people are coming from out of state, moving to be near their children nearby. Tell us how that changes your work a little bit.
A lot of communication. um, and I think we work very closely with the move manager on the other end. So lots of communication, a lot of details because we're not unpacking them if it's out of state. So we want to make sure that we do a very good box inventory list and a very good description of where things came from. Oftentimes we will have to label the drawers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then label the items that go back into the drawer.
Amazing.
Yep.
So they can follow that.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And we also have to do the measuring for them. So we measure the furniture here, and then the move manager will measure the new space
Mhm.
for me. And then we collaborate together to make sure they take the appropriate pieces.
That is great because I know that that is overwhelming for clients and families when they are coming out of state. There's so many unknowns.
Yes.
And we do that a lot. I actually moved a client from Hawaii,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
flew here with a caregiver right into a community to be near her son here in Metro West. So
Yeah.
just for people to understand that there's always a way to do it and there's great help available. Is there anything else that you want to share with us or tell us that you about your business or about working with older adults?
Um, I think the one thing that I already said is I do love working with seniors. I am passionate about my job, but there's also why I'm so passionate is because they also are full of knowledge. They have so many wonderful little stories that they tell us. And I think that's why we enjoy this line of work is because of them. The clients are just, they're so sweet and so nice. And we really do form a relationship. I only put one team member who consistent
Mhm.
throughout
Mhm.
the whole process. And that team member and that client really do form a nice relationship.
Yeah,
And they tell one another stories, but that's what is helpful for them to get through this process
yeah.
is telling the little stories. We keep pushing them along to get things done, but I think they're reminiscing as they're sorting
Mhm.
through everything. And I know it's hard. We're patient, but we really do enjoy their stories and we love their knowledge. And we all, as a team, love what we do.
That is amazing. Well, thank you so much for um, doing this interview. This will get out to people so that they know what you and your company do, out of the box moves and senior move managers, because most of the time when we are working with clients and they're going to make a move, they've made a decision, they're like a deer in the headlights. And then I tell them about you and they're like, okay. So if I could say one thing, it is people should try and start to work through their belongings before they move. And I love the idea of working with you and building that relationship before they're even making any decisions and giving themselves some peace of mind. So hopefully all your tips will be helpful to people. And thank you for all the work that you do. We love working with you.
Oh, well, thank you, Joan, for having me. And I think it's been a nice partnership that both of us have had together over the years, several years.
And thank you for your interviewing now, which is your busiest season.
Yes,
so,
it is. August
luck
is the
with that,
busiest year.
and
Busiest month of the year, yes.
busiest month of the year. And thank you for everything, and thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you, Joan. Take
Okay.
care and have a good night.
Thanks.